Nick, thanks for joining us. We've been a fan of DIVI for a long time. Love what you guys were doing back the last time we
Thank you.
talked and stuff like
I appreciate it. Very
that.
cool.
All right. So maybe real quick, Nick, just run us through what you think is important for us to get across the DIVI, because I want to make sure we're delivering your project better than us. And so if there's something that you really feel we can cover that can help you with the people that we have that are watching this, our goal is decentralization. We believe it's the only future for all people on this planet. If we stay centralized, we'll continue to have wars. We'll continue to have this struggle between left and right and all these other factions and stuff, right? Decentralization, we believe, is the key to a brighter future for the people on this planet. And that's our side of this. And what we have been doing with the videos, just so you know, and that's why I'd like to cover the struggle of going, because you built during a bull run and now you built during a bear run. The projects we're highlighting, most of them are under $1 million. And they're people, though, that have kept building through the bear market, because everybody's the new shiny penny, right? Oh, this new token launching. Let's get these guys started 2 weeks ago. They're going to raise $8 million. They're on easy street now because this bull run is coming. And then there's some other guys over there with great tech, Unmarshall. There's just a ton of them that have great tech, and they built through this whole time when nobody would give them 50 cents, right? Where they couldn't, their token traded $8 yesterday, right? On the thing. So that's really what our goal is to help people find 50, 100, 200 projects over the next few months, because we're doing 2 videos a day that have teams that have continued to develop throughout the bear market. So that's the idea between most of the videos that we're doing. And so that's, yeah. So if we can talk maybe about that would be good. And then anything else you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it's a great timing actually, because I just tweeted yesterday about probably our biggest struggle over the past 18 months, roughly. Perhaps we can start there. It's a pretty brutal story of perseverance through our second major bear market. So that sounds good. I'll start there.
All right, perfect. Did you guys start in the 2017 bull market? And I didn't know that. See, this is why we had the conversation ahead of time. So you guys started in 2017, went through that bear market, got into a bull market. Wow, what a difference. And then went back into a bear market. And you guys have survived it. People like you are the reason why the governments haven't been able to shut down crypto and beat this thing, because when most people are turning around and running twice, you stayed in the fight. So we appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you saying that. I agree with a lot of everything you said. The sentiment is shared as far as philosophically why I'm in crypto. It has everything to do with financial sovereignty, liberty, and freedom, and nothing to do with the status quo and continuing to perpetuate the existing systems that have caused us so much pain globally. I have seen for a long time that crypto, Bitcoin, of course, being the first, is the only answer to escape the financial system, which is the main thumb that holds us down. Yeah, there's definitely an element of passion behind what we do as far as sticking it out, but that's not the only thing that got us through the bear market. I can tell you there's a lot of factors, and there's a lot of days where you're like, I give up. I just want to quit. I just can't do this anymore. You're getting angry phone calls and all those things. Yeah, I'll tell you about this. This is the most recent bear story. So I guess you met us when we had just probably partnered with La Liga. Is that right?
Yes.
So that was a great partnership, and La Liga is a great partner to us. We signed that contract under the understanding that we had this big client that was also contractually obligated to us. Huge client, big money coming in the door, and a great project, huge use case for our blockchain and our wallet and all of the things, right? So we were waiting on that first payment to come from them, and in the meantime, we had to start the season with La Liga. So basically, out of my own pocket, I paid the first tranche of payments. It was a 7-figure payment out of my own pocket. It was probably the biggest risk I've ever taken personally. I was expecting that to be paid back by this client. And at the same time, we were using the client to raise funds, right? So we had opened our Series A. We're like, look, we made it through this first bear market. We're here with proprietary technologies, patented technologies that can be applied to a variety of different use cases. And it was a great pitch. We had our first client and it was going really well. We had a term sheet on the table. And then two things happened. One, the client's funding fell through. So that meant they were unable to pay us. And then the rest of the market fell through. Luna happened, Celsius, BlockFi, FTX, you name it. It was Voyager. It was all going south, and that killed our Series A. So two of our primary channels for funding disappeared, and with it, our ability to continue the partnership with La Liga. And so we had to put La Liga on pause. They were really understanding of the situation. We weren't their only crypto partner, obviously.
Nick, with all of the big crypto companies back when the selection for La Liga was going on, how did DIVI grab that covenant sponsorship versus maybe some of the other bigger companies that were trying to get it?
Yeah, I still ask myself the same question. It was a lot of it had to do with the fact that La Liga was looking for more of an upstart that wanted to really do activations. They had some bigger names. Dapper Labs is a global partner for La Liga. They were looking for somebody who had a crypto wallet, a cryptocurrency, and was willing to do some more unique types of things. But we were competing against some of the biggest names in the industry, the biggest name actually at the time. And it was pretty funny because while we were still like in the schmoozing process of trying to get the whole thing settled, I went to a party, a Binance party in Dubai with our who became our partner and our point of contact in the region. And the way that they were just trying so hard to get in the door and, oh, we can't wait to work with you and this and that. And of course, this VIP party with Kevin O'Leary and all these famous people at this thing. And they still went with us, even though all that was on the table for them. And I'm sure it would have been a smoother process for them in the long run. But they took the chance, and we appreciate that a lot. And it just goes to show sometimes the underdog does have the opportunity to shine. So,
And
yeah.
I think that's the reason why if you're the underdog, you still get up and swing the bat, right? Because you
Yep.
may connect, you may end up hitting that grand slam and win the game.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And never underestimate the power of a good relationship. They understood that the market dynamics had completely changed drastically, like potentially permanently. It felt like back then at the time. So that was it. We were running low on runway. We were running out of resources, and we had run out of time. So I fell into a pretty deep pit of despair, and I was like, all right, I can just give up on everything, or I can try to figure out how to unruin everything and regain the trust of the people that believed in us and try to rebuild this thing. And I genuinely considered giving up, honestly, multiple times, a lot. And my wife can attest to this. Long suffering wife can attest. It was not easy. I'd lost a staggering amount of money. I was getting angry phone calls daily, 3 times a day, people calling, what's going on? Why is the price down? What's wrong with the market? Did I get scammed? That whole thing. But we just kept pushing. And despite being like completely underwater with no money, we basically just gathered together as a team and figured out how we could cut costs, mitigate risks. Even our executive team, I said, you guys can leave if you want. They said, no, we'll take no pay. We're gonna work this thing out. And so we did, and we dropped several new projects throughout the bear. We dropped a DeFi protocol, and most recently we dropped our on and off ramp, which we'll talk about in a minute. And now, as of now, we just had our all hands on Tuesday. CFO gave us the financial update. We're looking net positive for 2024,
Man,
which
that's
I have to say is, yeah, thanks.
It's
Was
like a Rocky story here, right? Knocked down on the
yeah,
canvas, ready to give up. Nope, I'm getting back up again.
yeah. It's really not to sound cliche, but it is more so that we're judged on the way we get up more so than the way that we fall, right? I'm glad that we're still
Absolutely.
here.
And it's easy, especially in the crypto space. I would say that probably a good percentage of the people that are doing projects right now, this is their third, fourth project. But when the bear came, they just quit, right? They walk away and then they go jump on another project. So to stick it out and continue to believe in what your ultimate vision was of the project. And I didn't even know you guys have proprietary technology. You have patents in place. That's all stuff that I think people really need to know about Divi, because again, like I said, I thought it was the wallet. And then I realized you guys have the chain and different stuff like that. So maybe you can hit on a little bit about that aspect of it, because a chain, basically you have partners that are going to start building dApps, apps, things that are building on it. What does that look like for you guys right now?
Yeah, we spent a lot of time building our blockchain. It's a UTXO chain, so it's not completely dissimilar to Bitcoin in its security mechanism. It is proof of stake, obviously differing from Bitcoin's proof of work. And then we made a ton of other changes, including some of the patented technology I talked about, which is still open source, by the way. It's not, we're not guarding it. It's just an IP thing. Ultimately, what we wanted to do was take the best aspects of the blockchains that existed at the time, I'm talking 2017. So we were looking at Dash, Pivx, of course, Ethereum and Bitcoin. We chose to go this route with UTXO based blockchain. And we spent essentially 4 years just completely rewriting, refactoring, and modifying with our lead blockchain dev, who was ex Lockheed Martin, and a couple guys from Namecoin and some other big projects. Completely just tore this thing apart and essentially built a brand new blockchain with the bones, so to speak, of the best things that existed. So now we have an infrastructure that can scale to what we're calling side chains, which is a reductive term, but essentially what it's going to enable people to do is spin up trustless bridges across their own blockchains, existing blockchains, or whatever services they might need. So the main chain security is retained, but your use case is your use case, and you can do whatever you want with it in a completely trustless manner while relying on the security of a chain that's been running for 8 years almost.
Wow. Very cool. Very cool. You had mentioned, and when we can come back to some of this stuff, because you guys have some game stuff that you're working on. You have comics that you guys are working on. But there was something interesting that was brought to our attention, and that is, and you mentioned it here a second ago, the on and off ramp into crypto. Probably one of the top 3 problems that exists right now, where it's okay, great. If I get my money into crypto and I hit my, let's say, Bitcoin moment and something 1000x's, now I want to use some of that and I want to get it back to fiat. How am I going to do that? How long is it going to take? There's a lot of stress and difficulty there. And from my understanding, you guys have solved that. And can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this is super exciting. Essentially, we've developed and deployed, it's usable right now for the off ramp, a way for you to instantly send crypto to your bank account as fiat using your MetaMask or whatever EVM wallet you want to use on Ethereum right now, but we're adding more chains, and we can talk about it if you want. But it's as simple as signing a transaction for however much Ethereum or ERC20 token that you want to off ramp into your bank or to your debit card. And literally, as soon as the transaction mines, it's in your bank account. We looked at a variety of strategies for how to make this aspect of crypto easy. And a lot of people went with trying to make a relationship with Visa or MasterCard and the whole debit card thing. Why make people sign up for a new debit card that you now have to manage and deal with when you can just now get your money right to your existing debit card, your existing bank account within seconds? Your bank doesn't see it as a crypto transaction because we work with traditional fintech platforms like checkbook.com. So when it comes to your bank, it just says checkbook.com, the amount that you received, done. It's really simple.
Wow, that's incredible. And is this available where? US, around the world right now? Where do you guys cover?
Right now, it's just in the United States,
Okay.
which I feel as a launch market is really difficult to access for most of the on ramps, which is why we chose it. We want to solve the hardest problems. And I'm American too. I don't
Right.
always live in America, but I still have my roots there. And it's unfair that it's so hard to get in and out of crypto. There's so few paths. And so, yeah, it made a lot of sense for us to launch there, but we'll roll out into Europe and elsewhere very soon.
For us, we're grateful that you started here in the US, because that's one of the issues that our community and a lot of our followers that are in the US will be able to use, including me. So getting it in is easier than getting it out. And now we'll be able to. Now, what about the opposite direction? So now, right now, you guys have from crypto to fiat. What's the time frame? You said in and out. So I'm sure you guys are working on the in part. What does that look like timing wise? Do you know?
The on ramp right now is in internal testing. So I expect this week. I don't know when this is going to air, but it's January 4th right now. This week it'll probably be ready to go to beta, and then shortly thereafter it'll launch. It's cool though because it's not your typical on ramp. So have you ever used Zelle on your
Yes.
phone? Yeah. Okay,
Yes.
so it's actually Zelle to crypto. So it's an instant on ramp to crypto using something that literally everyone has in their bank app right now, which is really cool.
Excellent. And so where do we access this? Do I access this through the Divi site or through the Divi wallet? How do I access to use the service?
It's just called diviswap.com. You'll end up seeing it in our wallet and other places soon, but for now it's just a standalone app called DiviSwap. Yeah.
Divi swap. Okay. Excellent. Okay. So now while I was on your site, I also saw Mochi and then some of the other things you guys are working on. Can you give us a breakdown and as well as the game product that you guys are working on? And again, Jeff would probably knock me upside the head if I didn't mention the comics, but I do want to mention those, what you guys are doing there. The manga is just huge around the world. And I know you guys are doing some stuff there.
Yeah, the ecosystem has had the opportunity to grow pretty expansively thanks to us just being around for a long time. Of course, we started with the easiest one-click masternode. That was our claim to fame in 2017. Of course, no one cares about masternodes now, but we were able to apply that same technology to staking, which now you can use your mobile wallet for staking vault, which is a completely non-custodial or self-custodial way of earning Divi. You just press a few buttons, allocate your Divi, and you're off to the races. So it's
And
just
Nick, how many tokens can what's the range of tokens I can stake in Divi
yeah,
right?
it's just the Divi coin, but you can stake as little as one. You won't earn very much off one, but
Right.
you could up to as many as you want. Yeah, we have people that
Perfect.
have
I'll
tens
have
and
to
tens of
stake
millions.
my Divi coins because I do have some. So I'm gonna have to get those
Yeah,
staked. 'Cause you guys are gonna be huge at some point because of what you've done and the stuff you guys are building, especially this off and on ramp situation. So I can only see your guys' coin going in one direction. Again, not financial advice, guys. You guys know I'm not a financial advisor, but I see it going in one direction. So I'm gonna have to get some more Divi and I'm gonna have to get it staked. That's for sure.
yeah. There's no reason not to earn. I mean, any coin I own that I can stake, I pretty much stake if I have a long term view of it. Because why not? Why wouldn't you earn yield on your assets instead of having them sit there? But the staking thing is really just like the underlying aspect of the ecosystem. Staking's great, but without use cases, it becomes impossible to mitigate the downward pressure, right? People selling their rewards, which is where things like Lightning Works comics, which Jeff is working on, and his amazing like innovations in crypto, sorry, in comic books and NFTs. They're super fun. There's like this gamified system where you can collect the comics and then combine them to create more rare covers and stuff like that. It's really fun. Like it's a completely new way of collecting art and comic books. And that's, of
Well,
course,
Nick, hitting
all
on
Divi is
that
case.
point right there, I think that's what's been missing from crypto, right? It's always about the price going up or price going down, where we really need to build that fun into it to where I'm engaged in crypto, not just because the price of my token's going up, because it's entertaining me. I'm having fun doing it. I'm able to become part of that process. And I think that's what's different. And correct me if you think I'm wrong. In this next bull market, it'll be about gaming. It'll be about things like the comic books that Jeff is building. These are the types of things that'll get people engaged. And it's not so much about, oh, I got to wait for the price to dip to buy it or the price is going up. I'm just buying the token or tokens because I want to do something in crypto that's going to be either educational, entertainment, or create some type of value in my life.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's really interesting. I was just reading about the like Generation Z who are getting older than I'm comfortable with because I'm a millennial and I feel like they should be little babies still, but they're like in their 20s now. So, very interestingly, this generation of human beings values their digital life exponentially more than I did, than you did, than any previous generation did. It's something like 82% of the generation have a significant focus on their digital presence, on their avatar, on what their character's wearing in Fortnite, those kinds of things. When you talk about gaming, when you talk about collecting art or comics or things like that, it's not going to be done in a store anymore. You already really don't buy a video game in a store. It's all done on the PlayStation or whatever. And then all the assets are, of course, purchased through the game or through a digital store. This innovation, I think Jeff saw it a long time before I did, and he's always ahead of the market. He's very visionary in that sense. So I feel like things like Lightning Works, things like Games Interactive, which is Siege Worlds, our video game, those things really adhere to what's coming. We've always built with a long-term view. I feel like the projects that are still here all did the same thing. They're built with a long-term view. And yeah, hopefully that impacts the value of the ecosystem in a positive manner. I don't see how building use cases and useful fun things doesn't, but time shall tell.
Yeah, and we're going to actually interview Jeff with Lightning Networks. Would also love to interview your team on the game as well, so we can help your ecosystem as much as we possibly can to help get exposure to what you guys are doing on that side of it. So you said that your La Liga partnership is in pause right now. Will you guys reactivate that down the road, or is that something that you're thinking about or looking at some point?
Yeah, I think given the opportunity, we would definitely kick it live. I'm still very good friends with our points of contact there. I'm familiar with the CEO of La Liga, and there's no bad blood there. It was just an unfortunate situation. It just couldn't be avoided. We did everything we could really to make it happen. But it's with these types of partnerships, and you saw it with all of the big sports partnerships in back a couple of years ago with all the big crypto companies. If you're not able to activate the partnership, like having your logo out there is great, but if no one knows what the logo is, then what's the point? You have to activate the partnership in ways that engage the people that are seeing your logo and gain a shared affinity between the fans of the sport, and hopefully they become fans of you. And that requires just even more money. So yeah, we would definitely continue it given the financial resources to make it.
And you guys are moving into profitability as according to your CFO, which is very good. That's one of the things that I look at when I'm looking at projects. And I think beyond this next bull run, the more sophisticated investors that are going to come in, more value-based investors are going to start looking at that. Is the company, is the project generating revenue? Is it making money, right? Is it profitable? What's their future look like? Is this going to be something that can last the next 10, 20, 30 years? And I think those are the projects that are going to, right now it's the shiny penny, right? It's bonk, right? Running up through the ceiling and you're trying to figure out why, right? But, and trust me, I've done the same thing. How the heck is bonk worth that? And this project is worth this. It doesn't make any sense, but that's the market that we're in right now. So where do you see 2024 in the crypto space? We got the ETF, we got the halving. Where do you see the end of 2024? What's your vision of running a company? You need to think, okay, by December 2024, I believe this is going to happen in the marketplace. So you'll make your decisions based on that. Where do you see that being by the end of 2024?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the ETF news is going to incite quite a lot of interest in the space. Obviously, you're going to have institutional buying and things like that that will move the price of Bitcoin to new all-time highs. We'll finally see the six-figure Bitcoin that everyone's been after. That almost feels assured, which I know is wrong to think like that in a market like this, but I just don't see it any other way. But as far as like the macro, so to speak, climate of our entire crypto market, there are so many legitimate real world use cases that are being built. You see it in real world assets, obviously USDT being a real world asset, but now you're starting to see equities come on chain. You're starting to see treasuries come on chain, and even gold, silver, and I'm sure we'll see other physical assets start to be tokenized legitimately.
Real estate, right? So there's some projects that are moving real estate forward, which is a what, $300 trillion or whatever giant marketplace right around the world that's starting to move towards it.
And that's also really an accessible market for the majority of people. Most people can't afford to buy a house. So giving them access to things that outside of just an REIT is massive. Something that's accessible to somebody just on their cell phone giving them access to the property market, and even in another country, it changes the dynamics of global commerce in a way that we can't predict, but we know it will be positive, right? So those types of things excite me a lot. Gaming excites me a lot. I don't have time to play video games anymore, unfortunately. I do love them.
We have
But
our resident video game player, Corey. He plays all the games
yeah.
that we have. And actually before we leave today, I want to cover your game because I want to see, is it play to earn? Is it going to be something like that? What's the plans on the game that you guys have? But yeah, we do have a resident game player, and he'll go through and play any game that you bring to him to test it out.
Yeah, I love gaming. I always have as a kid, and I still try to sneak a game in, at least one game a year. It's so hard to find the time. But gaming is a huge way of attracting new people to the space. There's a lot of other narratives I think that are attractive. You have AI, you have gambling, which may or may not be of interest to everybody, but it's a huge
Right.
market regardless. You have a lot more infrastructure that enables these use cases to be built now. You have a lot more legal infrastructure. Many countries have established guidelines for crypto. So operating in those countries is possible now for
Right.
bigger companies that are waiting for regulations. It's just a whole new dynamic. You have the new paradigm is starting to unfold in front of us. So to me, this is like the make or break cycle. It either becomes a legitimate established asset class, or we fail to build anything really useful and it fails. I don't see the latter being the case.
So, Nick, that doesn't just fall on it. This is one of the things I'd like for our audience, the people watching, to understand is it doesn't just fall on the people building the projects, though. It falls on the people getting the tokens. We need to change our behaviors. We're used to using centralized things, the banking system, other types of services that are non-crypto. If we believe in a decentralized future, then my belief system is we need to begin to use the decentralized project. So if you are a gamer and maybe you love your traditional game, AAA game, and there's a new one coming out in crypto, give that one a chance, because that's how we move it forward. We help the fans, the crypto holders, help with the projects to make sure that you can build the greatest game in the world, but if nobody's playing it, it doesn't do any good. So we need to move towards, if we believe in what crypto is and want our assets to Moon or Lambo or whatever the heck they want to call right out there, they really need to help by using the product, sharing it with friends, especially in the gaming space, inviting other friends to play, those type of things.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree. And it's starting to happen. Better games are coming out. AAA, almost quality stuff is starting to hit. So that's good. But it's changing, getting the traditional gamers to change their perspective on crypto, which was really damaged, during the NFT bull run. And a lot of the companies made huge missteps by trying to jump into Web3 too soon without a real strategy. Sorry if you can hear that sneeze in the background. Yes, like I said, the infrastructure has been laid. Now it is up somewhat to the builders to build things that people really want. And not only that they want, but that they find useful and they can easily get into and
Right.
start using seamlessly. And friction has been a big barrier for crypto for a long time.
I think that's with your on and off ramp, right? You're helping solve those problems, which is why it's so huge and why people really need to take a look at Divi and throw some support at you guys in helping you in the mission of moving that forward. Let's talk about your game. Give us an idea of the game that you guys are working on and the direction that it's heading. And yeah, is it play to earn? What's the theme behind the game?
There's one game called Siege Worlds, which is built by a company called Games Interactive, which is technically it's not a Divi like asset necessarily. I did invest in the company, but they built a game called Siege Worlds that leverages Divi. It is play to earn. It's essentially like a waves shooter. So you have waves and waves of increasingly difficult enemies coming at you that you can play with up to 4 people, and you can pick up Divi and some other coins as well that are integrated in the game as you play. Then you can trade the assets in game. It's really cool. It's got a great marketplace. What's funny is the marketplace is really the thing that's most heavily utilized in the game. A lot of people do play it, but a lot of people just hop in there to trade their guns and their weapons and stuff like that, which says something. I think there's something to be said about that behavior. But so yeah, Siege Worlds. The same company's working on another game called Downfall right now, which is in its very early pre-alpha stages, not playable yet. Siege Worlds you can play, but it's more polished. It's a new game, survival, more open world MMO kind of style. So I'm really excited to see that, and hopefully timelines will link up right with the bull run.
Excellent. That's very good. Anything else that you believe is important for people to know about Divi? Outside of, you got the wallet, you've got the on and off ramp, you've got the video game, we've got Lightning Works. Anything else that you'd like to cover that people should know about Divi?
I think the most important thing is the people that make Divi what it is are not me and Jeff and the guys necessarily building the technology. They are part of it, but it's really the community is really what's driven us through 2 bear markets and held us up and continued to support, not only by buying Divi and doing things like that, but making social media accounts and managing the community in our absence when we're too busy with our heads down and things like that. That kind of support got me through that first story that I told you at the beginning of this interview. That's the positive shining light at the end of the tunnel that I think is most important to our project, is really the community. So come join it, come be a part of it, because it's a great, very inviting, welcoming, and friendly group. So
Yeah, well, we believe community is commerce, right? It's the people behind you. That's the team that works for the company, but also the fans, the people that get behind it. We're focused on moving things towards a participatory economy, play to earn. I just saw another project that's drive to earn, right? After a while, there's nothing you can do that you won't earn. And if you're doing it
yeah,
with the right project, it can be quite rewarding, right? You get involved early, price of the asset, the digital asset goes up. And all of a sudden you're like, wow, I got paid X for doing something that I enjoyed doing or had to do anyway. So I think that's the important part about it. Nick, I want to thank you for joining us today on this. We're going to have you back. So when you guys get the on ramp done and anything else that you'd like to talk to us about or go over, we are going to have Corey get the game and we'll have him play it and we'll record it and we'll put it up on the channel so he can walk them through the marketplace and all that stuff. And we're definitely supporters of what you guys are doing. Really appreciate that you guys made it through 2 bear markets. I'm glad you did not quit, right? I'm glad you decided to get back up and run at it again. We've had our own challenges, especially over the last 2 years, keeping stuff moving forward. We started this to try to help the crypto market make it, right? As you said, this is the make or break. I agree with you 100%. I think blockchain and all that will be here no matter what. The technology is just that great. The difference is, do we have a centralized blockchain or Web3, or do we have a decentralized Web3? And I think that's what's going to be decided over the next couple of years. And it's people like you that are going to make sure that it hits the decentralized side, we believe. So we want to thank you for joining us today and giving us your time. And we look forward to working with you in the future.
likewise. Thanks so much for having me.
All right. Thank you, Nick. And look forward to doing another interview in a couple of months or whenever. Or if you guys come up with something more that you want to share, you have a friendly channel here. So if you ever want to share anything out there, just let us know.